2032, and in today's tutorial, it's going to be a continuation on the course PAD305. With this being said, let's get into it. But just before then, if you are new to the stream, do also smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, do also enroll for our private class where we walk you through all your courses throughout the semester, give you all resources that will be essential to you doing well in this semester and any other one you enroll. Do also reach out to me on www.tutorial.com. It's our official website. You get to the WhatsApp button on the top right hand corner, enable you to send me direct message on WhatsApp. With this being said, let's go straight into it. Okay. Now we have PAD 305 and we have the federal political system. The federal political system. When we talk about the federal political system, what are we talking about? We are simply talking about federalism. Please bear in mind, federal political system, we are still talking about federalism. Now, when we talk about federalism, what are we talking about in essence? Federalism is a type of political system in which the power of government are divided between self-governing parts. Okay? A system of government, all right, whereby the power of governance is divided, spread across between what? Self-governing parts. Between self-governing parts. Okay? Between self-governing parts and the national or the central and the national or central government. Now, one thing you need to note here in this definition is that federalism is a first thing you need to understand is that it's a system of government. And this system of government, we have power being divided between self-governing parts and the central government. Now, the Constitution, now it says that each of these parts operates within its own jurisdiction as defined or specified in the Constitution. So now the Constitution is the ultimate guide, all right, overall guide to how power is being managed by each of these governing parts. Okay, by each of these governing parts. Now we have Constitution demarcates the function of the central government. On the other hand, all right, demarcates the function of the central government on the one hand and those of the constituted government on the other hand. Now, what we're saying here, like I said earlier, that the Constitution helps to, all right, separate, helps to let everybody know this is your responsibility and that is your responsibility. So we have factors, all right, that enhance the choice of federalism, all right, factors that determine federalism. Okay, some of these factors are historical factors, okay, the history, the fundamental reason why states decide, all right, the most fundamental reason why states decide to federate is historically influenced. Now, this reflects the fact that, okay, common associations and similarities of political institutions had existed between these federating units. The history of a country will determine if what will best fit the country should be federalism. The history of that country will determine it. Now, let's talk about this history. Now, we are going to look deep into the means of communication, the means of integration, the means of communication among these people. And it will now determine, okay, I think with our history, this is the best kind of government that will work for us. We also have the geographical contiguity. Now, we're talking about the nearness, okay? The nearness of each state, okay? The nearness of each state in geographical terms is one major factor as well. Geographical proximity, we can also refer to it as, all right, factors. We have, as we have said, we have the first one as historical factors. All right, we have geographical proximity. Okay, we also have economic and administrative factors. Okay, economic and economic and administrative factors. So we have that as that. Now, advantages of federal system. Advantages of federal system. Some of the advantages are the system encourages unity in diversity. Different group of people, different language, but has something in common. Encourages unity in diversity. All right. Federalism is an ideal system of government for countries like United States, China, Russia, India, Nigeria, with huge population and territory size. Okay, an ideal system of government for countries with huge population and territory size. It also leads to efficient administration. Okay, please, those of us in private class might not be able to mention everything here on YouTube, as we have to limit what we treat here and develop it more in our Telegram class, which is strictly for people in the private class. And after it all, you get the keynotes, which we are using taking these classes. So some of these advantages of federal system are: the very first disadvantage of this system is that it involves high cost of running. Okay, high cost of it involves high cost of running. Awesome. Now, the diversity of groups in a federation along ethnic, language, and religious lines, if not well managed, can create problems for a federal system. If not well managed, can create problems for a federal system. Okay, so we have that as that. Very quickly, so I think I should be able to list down the ADV and this ADV. Here we have unity in diversity. Okay, here we have costly to manage. All right, it's in university, quite expensive. All right, good for countries with huge population and territory. All right, poor management of diversity equals conflict. All right, so we have the Confederation. Now, when we talk about Confederation, what are we talking about? A confederation has been defined as an administrative arrangement, okay, in which two or more sovereign and independent states agree to come together to have a central but weak government. Okay, two different independent states. Probably, you know, we read stories in the Bible in order to overcome a city, two different or more states comes together as allies, form strength, increase the number of their armies, and wage war against another nation. It's a very good example of confederation. All right. So, in as much as when two independent countries come together, the central um, the central government is still weak. Okay, so it can be seen an administrative, okay, an administrative arrangement in which two or more independent, in which two or more, you can use sovereign, you can use independent, all right, two or more sovereign or independent states, okay, agrees to come together, agrees to come together to form, okay, to form a central but weak government. You might be wondering, since two or more sovereignties are coming, so why do we still have a weak government? Very right. Don't forget, said these states they are sovereign states. So it's going to be an issue deciding who says what, who does what, who is in charge. Because don't forget that these states they just have to pretend to get alongside because these two states are sovereign on their own. So the government is the central government is weak because you cannot have two captains on a ship. So basically, it is what it is. Now we have the features of confederation. All right. So now we have the right to okay, the right to secede. So we have features one, two, three. Okay, let's take some points here. Just a moment. I think I lost mine. I think I lost my note there. Okay. So that is the very first feature of confederation. And we have The next, which is, according to what we have here, autonomy. All right, we have autonomy of federating states. Okay, so now the right, I think I should switch the marker. The right to secede. Here we have that withdraw. So even after they are done with the arrangements, everybody can go their separate ways. Don't forget that they are independent states. So pending the time that this agreement or this arrangement is done or achieved, then both states can go their separate way without states can go their separate ways. Now we have that as that, the right to secede, to withdraw, and we also have supremacy lies in confederates. Supremacy lies in confederates. Now the supreme power belongs to the coordinate states. Like I said, there's a weak government. You can't have two captains in a ship on a ship. It's not possible. So therefore, as a weak government. So now this supremacy lies not with one state, but with as many states that is involved in this administrative arrangement. Okay? Supremacy lies with the Confederates. We have that as that. And like I said earlier, weak central government. And we have merits and the advantages of confederation. We have arrangements. Confederation arrangements protects countries that shelter under the arrangement from foreign invasion. Basically, what it is, protection from foreign invasion. That is what confederation is all about. Confederation has economic utility. You know, state is coming, pull your resources together like partnership, the economic will boom. And some of the demerits are confederation is a very loose and fragile system of government. Very loose and fragile. Anything can go out of hand. Okay. Now, the relationship between the central and the confederal states is not usually well defined. You know, if you're trying to get a favor, you might just want to dance, play along. So the relationship is not usually well defined. So we have that as that. So very quickly, let's talk about the organs of government and their functions. So as we have, I think we talked about this in our previous class. So there's really nothing much to say. Legislature, they make the law. Functions are they make law, they approve annual budgets, they also approve the declaration of war. They are also responsible for um, constitution amendments. So under the structure of legislature, we have the unicameral and bicameral. Okay, so I think that's all of that. We have the merits and the demerits. All of that we have them in keynote, and you definitely get them. I think I want us to conclude this course tonight. So by next week we are starting a different course entirely. All right. So as soon as we are done with legislature, we have field here. Now don't forget that the types of legislatures we have are the bicameral and the unicameral. Okay, and we have that as that. And under the bicameral, there are more countries with bicameral. Now, they include, okay, in the bicameral, we have more than a chamber. Okay, but in unicameral, there's only a chamber, only one chamber. But in the bicameral, we have more than just one chamber. Okay, they have their advantages and disadvantages. So now we talk about the executive arm of government. Here we have the judiciary should come before this anyway. The judiciary interprets while executive implements. Under judiciary we have the judges, we have the lawyers, but under the executive we have the president, we have the armed forces, the police, and the likes, and we have that as that. Basically, it is what it is. Plans of government. So we have the permit me to raise the board. Let's take some points on that the concept of checks and balances. Basically, nothing so special. There's nothing new here that we haven't heard of. Talking about checks and balances, we are simply talking about work with the existence of separation of power. Okay, before we can even talk about checks and balances. All right, we are all right. It's a system that works. All right, with the what separation of power, where power is being separated by different organs of government, spread across different organs of government. Whereby we have the ledge, the judge, and you have the X, is the executive, which are the executives. Okay, so we have the uh, works within existence of separation of power because it deals with the process whereby the organs of government, there are three of them, look into or control the affair and duty of one another. Works with separation of power whereby the organs of government looks into the activities, all right, of one another. Okay, just to ensure, not to influence actually, but just to check, to have each other's back, to make sure that they are performing their functions properly and according to the constitution. So what are the importance of checks and balances? Accountability, right? Every organ must be accountable. Rule of law, okay? Every separation of power, okay, is encouraged. Okay, rule of law meaning that the law is supreme. They are not working outside their jurisdiction. Okay, passage of bill into law. Laws made by legislature are bound to be good laws because the passage of laws takes rigorous process and also as a result of the mechanism of separation of power. Now, legislature will not want to see a situation of it becoming a laughing stock. So now the legislature is more deliberate and concerned because its activities is being checked by the other organs of government. Then we have good governance, which is one of the relevance of checks and balances. Okay, so we have to understand. Very quickly, let's talk about the concept of rule of law. And something we made mention of just before now, okay, is called the supremacy of law. Concept of rule of law, concept of rule of law. All right, otherwise known as the supremacy of law. Of the law. Okay, is a general legal maxim according to which decision should be made. All right, according to which decision should be made okay, by applying known principles of laws without intervening or the discretion. Now, basically, what we're trying to talk about here is that this concept speaks volume in the sense that everything in a country, everything in a state is not above the law. All right. All decisions, all constitutions should be made in line. All right. Acknowledging the law. All right. The law is supreme in a state whereby all organs and all government parastatals, individuals respect the law. So we have, generally speaking, law is a body of rules prescribed by the states subject to sanction or consequence. Now, basically, everyone must respect the law and work in line with it. The rule of law has some limits. We have the okay. Some of these limits are rights to freedom of expression. Okay, right. The rule of law should not stop individuals or citizens from the right to life, right to freedom, right to personal liberty, and the likes. So we have that. Okay, let's quickly touch on democracy as a form of government. Democracy as a form of government. Okay, basically, democracy is something we operate here in Nigeria. It's a system of government we operate here in Nigeria, and it's not new to us. The term democracy comes from the Greek word, okay, the rule of the people. Okay, it came from the Greek word, the rule of the people. Okay, the Greek word for rule participation of all people in every aspect of government. According to the idea of the here, Greeks, here is that everybody should be involved in governance. Everybody should be involved. Okay. Now, the Greek system of democratic government is the model of pure or consensus. Okay, when we say consensus, like generally agreed upon decision. Okay, that is their concept about democracy. So now, according to John Dewey, he says it is more than a legal arrangement. According to John, he said, okay, democracy is more than a legal arrangement, but should be seen as a way of life. And this way of life requires a way of life that requires faith in the capacity of human beings for intellectual or intelligent judgment and action if conditions are provided, according to John. Okay, so what is the process of democracy? A popular definition of democracy is offered by Abraham Lincoln. As we all know, it gives the impression that all the citizens have the opportunity to participate in government. That is what democracy is all about. Okay, so we have that as that. So in our next class, I think we can't conclude this. We still have still quite a lot. So in our next class, we're talking about political parties in colonial era. Okay, political parties in colonial era. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe we've been able to get something in tonight's class. Let's do to keep our notes updated and send them to the appropriate quarters. And I look forward to seeing all the subsequent. Good night.